Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? It's your man, 3K the Boss, aka Mr. Two Hands Up. Fah, Fah. You already know what it is. Welcome back to Reaper Game Radio. And anybody new, I'd like to welcome you in to the gang. You already know what it is. If you like what you hear, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. What's goody with the people, though? Wait for everybody to fall in here. I know I said it for 2:30, but I got to get it done a little earlier today. So we're going to get it done a little earlier today. Let's go ahead and do it, man. So I hope everybody's doing well. Shout out everybody as soon as they come in the building. Boxing God, what's up with the bro? How you feeling, my guy? Everything good down in the NO? Jared Hiller, what's up with the bro? What's good with you? You know me, man. I'm just chilling like a villain, man. I can't call it, bro. Jeff, what's popping with you, homie? How you feeling today? Shout out to the whole West Coast, though. You already know. Y'all know how we give it up. Everybody good? Gerald Fields was popping with the bro. What's goody, fam? How you feeling? All right, man. So y'all already know, boxing's got a funny way of doing its business. And anytime that I say that American journalism, especially sports journalism, clearly has a problem with, UK and the rest of the world of boxing. I mean, shit. I mean, it's not something that I'm making up. It's pretty damn obvious. Shout out to the Queen, Lisa Bales. How you feeling, sweetheart? Hope everything's well on your end. Like I just said, I mean, it's very evident if you just listen in the way they type, they talk, and they type, when they write this shit up. I mean, you got Boxing News 24. Let's start there. The article I covered earlier today. They're not coming out and saying that, the odds are against Dillian Whyte, the odds are against Anthony Joshua. They're just flat out saying that they're going to lose their next fight. Who does that in sports journalism? Like, where's the respect? Where is the unbiased opinion? You're just supposed to be a vessel. You're just supposed to be driving the truth from point A to point B, C, D, and wherever. But you just come out, disrespect them like they've consistently been disrespected. And I mean, the crazy thing to me is they don't even acknowledge the work that they've put in. They've had a steeper learning curve than every other heavyweight in their class. And they've done exceptionally well, even with the little bit of life they had in boxing when they started. Do they get any credit for anything they've accomplished in the sport? No. Does anybody say anything good about them when they catch victories? No. Do the opponents always get criticized every time they pick the opponents? And usually they always pick the toughest ones that are available. No. These things don't ever get pointed out. They consistently get disrespected by American media time after time after time again. Now, if somebody greasing the pockets over there, maybe. But if they aren't, like, bro, what integrity do you stand on? What do you stand for if you're just going to inject your opinion amongst the peers or amongst the viewers, the fans, whoever? How are you even going to give them a balanced perspective if you're not even balanced your fucking self? Like, I've never heard shit. Look, I've never been subjected to this type of journalism before. And it just goes with the times that we live in. But yet and still, it doesn't make it freaking right. Clearly, there's something against these two guys. Clearly, they don't want them to be successful, but you're not in charge of that. Only those individuals are. And the outcomes they have whenever they walk in the boxing ring. So for you to just come out there and say that, like, yo, these dudes are going to get washed, they're going to lose. And at the same time, in the same breath, you're demanding more out of Dillian Whyte for a fighter that the world considers on equal footing with Muhammad Ali. Now, how sick is this? Y'all pay the man disrespectful money. You say he's not going to take the fight. He does all of the above. Now we're going to try to snub him in any way that we can with promotion. So I guess when Tyson Fury goes on media blackout, I guess that means that it's just, the American pundits and the journalists that happen to be at all of these news outlets in America are working in tandem to go ahead and badger the careers of Dillian Whyte or badger the careers of Anthony Joshua. I guess when Tyson Fury went on media blackout, there must have been a memo that went out. Hey, talk greasy about these dudes. Let's see if we can try to ruffle their feathers a little bit. Bro, these are grown-ass men. They are so far beyond the mind games, and the level of success that these guys have been operating at for how many fucking years now? Been whooping ass in the heavyweight division. I'm pretty sure little fucking stones that you throwing, them niggas is deflecting that shit, bro. It ain't even touching their doorstep. But it's just disgusting to me that this is the practice of journalism. If this is what journalists are gonna do, bro, find a new profession because you can't even consider yourself one. I'm just saying. And then people wonder why today that more people look for little outlets, little sub outlets like mine or Nukes or Ring IQ or whoever you respect, Motive Media, anybody that you respect in the boxing world. Shout out to my bro Boxing Beats and Rhymes, another great outlet. That's why people go to these other sites and they listen to what they have to say because people want to rub shoulders with somebody that reminds them more of themselves. You know, the little guy, the guy, you know, who every day who's got to, you know, lace up his boots, put on his hard hat, go to work, do whatever he's going to do. But he's standing next to other individuals that respect the truth because somewhere up in that caviar, fucking crab meat infested world that you live in, I guess the check's been getting a little too good and the truth has gone somewhere out the window. But I can't let you slide like that. I can't let anybody slide like that. People have got to stop looking at America like America fucking is just like, yo, the world revolves around America when it comes to the sport of boxing. Newsflash, it hasn't done that in quite some time now. Reaper Gang, I'm sure you guys know, but if the rest of the boxing world isn't hip, I'm pretty sure that people that are really in tune with boxing would know that America ain't been running shit for quite some time now. Quite some time. And I mean, there are great boxers everywhere. That's why it's the world of boxing. So let's not try to start some bullshit smear campaign on these gentlemen just because you're unhappy with what the heavyweight landscape looks like on your end. If you want to crown fake individuals king on American soil like Deontay Wilder, and you want to go for wanting everybody to get behind what's fake and disregard what's real, you tried that already. You guys have tried that since when? 2014, 15. It didn't work out too well for you. Move on. You had your run. We had our run there. The ones that came before Skitty, great. But considering he's all we've had holding the belt, what does that say about American boxing? I'm sorry, but that is just an era that I would like to erase out of my memory bank. Besides the ass whooping, we can keep those right where they are. We can keep those right where they are. But everything else, we can just erase that shit out of our memory. This guy campaigned one face, one name, and never did anything of the above. So we're going to shit on the individuals that don't have a problem going out and fighting the type of opposition we expected out of our own American heavyweight champion, because that's what we've done for years. Well, I'm sorry. It's a different it's a different day in boxing. And the day where America just holds the flame for being the best at this and the best at that, bro, those days are over with and people got to acknowledge it. And I already understand this shit. You know, when it comes to these journalists for these mainstream media outlets and things of that nature, bro, we got to disregard them because they're not one of us. If it's not if the interest doesn't suit their well-being, they're not going to report it how it should be reported. You know, and boxing is so casual now that you can throw this type of shit out there and there's a certain group, and believe it or not, there's a large group of people that will absolutely believe this shit. There's a large group. There's a large group of fans out here because the fans are getting younger. We are getting older. That's what happens when you grow up. But like, look at Ryan Garcia. He's got the freaking social media fan base to freaking trump anybody in boxing. But is he a great boxer? No. When things started to get a little hot and heavy for him, what did he do? He chose to use the easy way out. Chalk it up to mental health like every other freaking child would today. We'll just chalk it all up to mental health, say I'm going through a bunch of shit, and everybody should get on board with, burping the baby. Because that's what we do in today's society. We just consistently birth the baby. We constantly, anytime that they get an abrasion or they break a freaking bone or anything like that, we're coddling them 24/7 instead of constructively criticizing them, and telling them the truth. I put out a post. Shout out to my brother, Blue Nuts, man. Appreciate you with the super chat, Brody. Peace and pugilism to you as well. I put out a post the other day, and I said, Mike Tyson, Tito Trinidad, who else? Terry Norris, Oscar De La Hoya, Wilfred Benitez. You want to know what all of these gentlemen have in common? They all won belts at the age of 22 or way younger. If you're thinking about Wilfred's case, at 17. They were winning world titles. So why do we hold the hands of all of these new fighters like, you know what, hey, we got to give them a pass. No matter how many fucking bums they fight, let's continuously give them a pass because they're young. They don't know any better. When they make a mistake, they're young. They don't know any better. Well, guess what? I remember there was a point in time, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably can remember this as well, if you grew up in this era. When you turn fucking 18, I don't give a fuck if you partied fucking 17 down to 14 that whole time you were in school. But when you turned 18, on that very day, your father grabbed your bags, he sat them by the doorstep. And what you were supposed to do from that point on, it was on you to figure out as a man. There wasn't no more staying at home. There wasn't no more getting coddled by mom and pops. And there was a reason why parents did that. Because the world isn't going to hold your hand. The world isn't going to coddle you. The world isn't going to make it easy for you. So you need to see how real shit gets in the real world. Just how supposed real boxers, like Ryan Garcia claims he is, or Teofimo Lopez and his fucking, Jesus Christ, his rapid fall from grace. These individuals aren't supposed to be coddled right now. They are supposed to understand shit gets real in the real world, and every one of your actions have a reaction. So if you're not putting it down or you're not holding it down how you're supposed to, of course, this is the type of shit that's going to happen to you. You're going to get chastised by your peers. You're going to get chastised by your fans. And the only thing that can help you in this world is results. Just like if you're a homeless motherfucker, the only thing that will help you in this world is results. Just like if you work in a cubicle, the only thing that's going to help you in this world is your results. See, now, we put people in jobs more than just a little bit for a so-called affirmative action hire. We certainly kind of, mix up the gender roles based on, feminism and things of that nature, just to try to, color up the place a little bit, diversify a little bit. But that doesn't mean the best person has the fucking job. So we don't need to be pacifying fighters. We don't need to be fucking selling bullshit out in the media when it pertains to a lot of fighters if they aren't doing what they're supposed to do. If you ask for it, God will give it to you. If you ask for it in the boxing world, clearly, Bob, Eddie, any one of those guys will give it to you. Maybe not Al Heyman. But it just shows, if you don't show up for all of this shit that you show out about, I'm not going to hold your hand. And nobody else should be holding these fighters' hands either. Because I wonder what the conversation would be today if Mike Tyson had his first title fight, or Tito had his first title fight, or Oscar De La Hoya, or any one of these gentlemen, and they came up short because of lack of preparation. They didn't do what they were supposed to do, or we're going to give them passes. Would they get passes if they just said, fuck it, I took this person lightly and I slept at the fucking wheel? Because that's basically what Teofimo Lopez did. And people still try to find ways to give him passes. And the crazy shit about it is, everybody's got so much more frustration towards Devin Haney, but he's the only one that clearly wants to show up and actually wants to fight everybody. It seems like we praise boxers for their shortcomings and don't give anybody respect for doing the tough shit or doing the difficult thing to do, which is stay disciplined, doing the difficult thing to do, which is to get up and show up and be ready for work every day. When you go to work every day, you're expected to perform a certain task at a certain level. So should boxers. I for one am a fan. So I shouldn't have to pacify or hold the hands of other individuals when it comes to their shortcomings. Because you want to know why? I don't walk with you in that aspect of your life. I'm not your blood. I'm not your best friend. I didn't go to school with you. I didn't watch you during those times in your life. I watch you show up on the scene and say you were all of these things. So if you don't live up to them, it's supposed to be upon us to hold them accountable to that. Unless we are going to sit and just watch boxing, say, let's say 7 years from now, when it's all over for a guy like Canelo Alvarez. What the hell does it say about boxing 6 to 7 years from now if we have this type of attitude continuously? And Canelo's gone. There goes that activity. There goes the guy who's willing to fight world champion after world champion. I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say about it. But look, the bar is set. Who's going to meet that? Who's going to meet that? Who's going to meet those expectations that are left here today? Who has that type of star power brewing right now that could even meet those expectations? The hand-holding has to stop. The snubbing those who are willing to go out and fight the right type of opposition has to stop. And I mean, somewhere along the lines, somebody's got to speak the truth about this shit. Daniel Moreno, salute. Yo, support 2 hands and hit the like button. Yeah, man, it costs you nothing to hit the like button, man. If you tune in, you like what's going on, hit it. You know, I normally don't ask people to hit the like button or whatever, but it definitely helps the algorithm and get this truth out to the rest of the world, man. So if you fucking with it, man, support it by hitting that thumbs up. It's not going to break your wrist. I promise you that. Lisa Bell, Gerald Fields, facts. I'm glad Canelo put Coppinger on blast. Coppinger removed the tweet, as he should, because it's a lot of journalism. Now think about it. How many professionals are out here so focused on their lives that it's a lot of fluff pieces that get thrown up on Twitter and all over social media and shit just so it could start some trend or whatever, or just so that fucking author's name could get thrown up all in the headlines or whatever. And they're talking a bunch of bullshit. Because to be perfectly honest, we don't know what Canelo is going to do. All we know is there are certain offers that are out there for that man. We know Dimitri Bivol and Triple G is one of them. We know Jamal is supposed to be one of them. We know that, well, Samson Lekowitz says it is, but I don't believe really shit that he says up out of his mouth, honestly. But he says that an offer that was significantly greater than what the Charlo offer was put out there for David Benavidez. I don't believe that for one bit. If it was hard enough for those guys to scrum up $50 million to give to Canelo to fight Caleb Plant, now all of a sudden they've got way more than $50 million to throw out there for David Benavidez. What does David Benavidez really bring to the table other than the fact that, yeah, he was a WBC champion at 168, lost it on the scale and then lost it to the digital scales as well, fucking with that white girl, that booger sugar, that disco chick. We all know that. But to believe that Al Heyman's putting above upwards of 60 million plus, 70, 80 million plus for a David Benavidez versus Canelo fight, I just can't believe that. And I think that anybody that has some sort of a normal functioning brain, they probably wouldn't believe that as well. I'm just saying. Yeah, Shakur Stevenson can be all of those things, but it gets to a point to where it's like, when they gonna give that boy his respect though? And ultimately, Shakur Stevenson, he's on the right side of the street for this first one, you know. And shout out to Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson for putting this thing together, because it's a lot of shit in boxing that truthfully doesn't fucking happen, that should happen, and nothing should be standing in its way. But these two young guys that put it together, Shakur's going out his way to, you know what I'm saying, to prove his greatness to the world. And Oscar Valdez is going out his way to prove some things to the world too. But I'll leave my personal anecdotal feelings to the side when it comes to Oscar Valdez. But yeah, they put it together, man, and we got a real one going down. And guess what? It's not like Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios trying to charge you fucking $80 for a pay-per-view. You're getting that shit for free if you got ESPN Plus. So what does that say about the state of Premier Boxing Champions? Damn. We're getting Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson in a unification after Shakur just comes off of the back of dismantling Jamel Herring And now we're about to watch these two fight each other. But you've got Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios coming off big fucking laws. And they have the audacity to try to charge you freaking $70+ for it. And everybody knows what that fight was. That was no more than to try to make Keith Thurman look like Keith Thurman is all the way back after 2 years of inactivity. Well, in all honesty, we don't know if he's back or not because a body shot got him taking his mouthpiece out of his mouth once again. George, the last Patriot, salute my brother. Good morning to you as well. If you're too good, you can't get the right fights. But if you're a glorified you can become a millionaire overnight. And I literally was about to allude to that. Shout out to Gotti. That's a very good fucking point. Let me go ahead and post that shit. That's a very good point. You know, if you're actually tough or you present some type of challenge, or if you pass the promotional or managerial eye test, they will completely dismiss of you and they will want astronomical fucking type fees for their fighter to get in the ring with you. If you're a pushover, you can get all the money in the world. You can get highly entertained. You can get all of the fucking most bullshit but best press coverage that there is to offer. And you can get all of the yes man in the world following suit. But if you're actually somewhat of a challenge, or you're perceived to be a challenge, or you're perceived on passing the eye test that you're a threat, they will put together a campaign fast as fucking the Roadrunner to go ahead and discredit you. They will shit on your record. But then again, let's think about that. They will immediately rush to shitting on these individuals' record. But let's think about this. How good of a record are you really going to have if everybody's going out their way to avoid you because you present some sort of risk? But both hands go in the air and they start poking their ass out or spread out in the missionary position if it's an opportunity to fight Canelo. But when it comes to fighting one another, they won't do it. More specifically, the 160 to 68 class, they will not do it. They won't do it. They will completely be dismissive of you. They'll say that, you know, what has this guy done? Who is he? At this point, when you got guys like Jermall Charlo or anybody that's on that level talking about who is this fighter, we would have to ask these individuals, who the fuck are you? What have you done? You don't even have the nerve to say who is he or who is it or what is it unless somebody's knocking at your fucking door. Because we don't know who you are, what you stand on or what you stand for other than fighting guys who are under fucking weight or fighting guys that are clearly in the wrong weight class. So what does that say about you? You light in the ass. You haven't proved shit. And see, we got to start really keeping our radar up and on point and make sure we watch out for these type of people in boxing. Because you got the kind of guys that will come out, talk all the shit, say they the best at this and the best at that. But when it comes down to fighting the best opposition, who are they fighting? Don't give me an excuse after you just called yourself the best. Don't call yourself the best after you come back from a car accident and you beat Danny Garcia and Terrence Bud Crawford is out there. And Danny Garcia hasn't beaten a soul at 147. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying. There are just several situations that we can point to. Don't call yourself the best when you fought nothing but the worst. I mean, shit, every time you speak, all I hear is crushed Pepsi cans. Are you recycling or are you really putting this work in? I think you might be doing a little bit more recycling. Let's try to salvage up every freaking bum we can build a bitch, put together, and throw him in an arena. Let's look through a catalog of Campbell's cans. This is the history of Campbell's. And this is all of the tomato soup we have thrown together for anybody that's under our promotional outfit. Your whole breath smell like tomato soup. This shit is spooky. Shout out to James Jameson and the whole Reaper Gang Scottish division. He said, Fury carrying Safari like a newborn. Wasn't the actual fuck. Weird ass sport now. Bro, when everybody is claiming, when everybody putting you on equal footing with Muhammad Ali in your career, when you have never defended a mandatory and all you did was win unified titles, get fat, put on a cocaine habit, didn't give your guy give your guy a rematch after he lost, then you come back and fight guys who are letting you cradle them at weigh-ins. You're fighting guys that are playing French kissy mouth with you after that at weigh-ins. And the only person you fight is Deontay Wilder. And this is probably the most spooky part about the whole shit. Everybody knew Deontay Wilder to be a bum and was just waiting for that right somebody to come along and destroy him. As soon as he does, what do? He's Muhammad Ali-esque now. Could you imagine that shit? Reaper Gang, imagine that. Imagine after you just come from a long layoff of Twinkies and little fucking Hostess cakes, talking zebra fucking cakes, moon crunches, whatever, star crunch, whatever you can think of, pecan rolls. Then you come back to boxing and you fight one guy that we know to be a bum after knocking over a bum. Now we're going to start comparing him to Muhammad Ali. Why? For 2 victories? What else has he done for boxing? Other than a bunch of tweeting. Now, the funny thing is this. Of course, the title is Dillian Whyte snubbing, is Dillian Whyte snubbing the promotion? So let's go ahead and go into it. It's funny to me that the guy everybody says is going to get washed, the guy everybody says nobody knows who he is in America, all of a sudden, they want him to do all of the groundwork. But I did just post and show you guys that Tyson Fury said it's going to be his 6th toughest opponent behind the cruiserweight Steve Cunningham, behind Otto Wallin, behind Derek Chisora, and Deontay Wilder and shit. But he's on a media blackout right now. So why isn't anybody saying anything about Tyson Fury being on a media blackout for an opponent he considers his 6th toughest opponent? Why is everybody shining all this light on Dillian Whyte? Dillian Whyte has done nothing but what Dillian Whyte has done since this fight went in the purse bid. He's been fucking training, keeping his mouth shut, focusing on his business like he should be focusing on it. But now all of a sudden people want words out of Dillian Whyte. See, it's crazy because the social media atmosphere wants you to conduct yourself like a bunch of bitches. It's like a bunch of simps. It's like a bunch of simps talking to a bad broad on live or whatever, and everybody's going out of their way jockeying for his attention just to get him to say hello to him or just give him some type of energy. Well, the nigga's not going to give none of you simping motherfuckers no energy, because unlike you guys and your thought process, he's always thought what he's thought of this opponent. He's going to train his ass off and knock him out. Tyson Fury's been the only one joking, calling him a sausage, saying that he ain't on that level, saying that he'll make easy work of him, but he's never really wanted to fight. But now that he's signed, since that's what Tyson Fury has been doing in the media repeatedly over and over and over again on social media, from Instagram to Twitter, is wanting him to say something, calling him a bitch, calling him a pussy, saying sign on a dotted line. Now that he's done so, y'all want all of this communication out of Dillian Whyte. Y'all want Dillian Whyte to do all of this press work, go on this huge press run. Why is that when y'all paid him like he ain't been getting paid like that already? Top Rank and BT Sports really act like they're doing him a favor. I thought you guys have the biggest heavyweight fighter in the world. I thought you guys have, that one-of-a-kind personality fighter over there. So why can't he move units? Why is he on a media blackout? Why does he need so much time to focus for somebody who is easy work? Can somebody answer me that? I would really like to know. Fact. Salute, Miguel. What the fuck was a Montiel? Who the fuck was Montiel? Another motherfucker who took goddamn bum ass fucking Jamarshmallow through the damn ringer, as he always does. As they always do. As bums always do. Take that goofball, streamlined, basic ass fighter through the goddamn ringer. Jamal will always be exactly what Jamal is. But yeah, back to what I was saying though. Why doesn't anybody have smoke for Tyson Fury? Why so serious? Why so serious now? Why are we so serious all of a sudden? Why does Dillian Whyte need to do so much all of a sudden? Why can't Tyson Fury carry the load? I mean, you know your superstar. You know the guy who came over here when he fought Twan Shores, sold 9,000 freaking seats in a 20,000 seated arena. You know the guy who fought at Otto Wallen after that, who sold 3,000 seats and had to get 7,000 comped in a 20,000 seated arena. You know the guy who did 300,000 in his first pay-per-view fight against freaking Deontay Wilder, then turns around and does a record-breaking gate, but doesn't break even on the pay-per-view, doesn't even do 1 million pay-per-view buys, then does significantly less after that. I mean, yeah, that star. Why isn't he doing so much? You know, since he's the star that you guys claim he is. And to be quite frank, isn't this fight being held in the UK? Real boxing fans are going to show up for Dillian Whyte. Please believe that. Please believe that. He has a solid fan base. They're going to show up regardless. Because what you get out of Dillian Whyte in one fight, you can guarantee you're going to get it out of him in the second fight, or the third fight, or the fourth fight, or the fifth fight. He comes in to do optimal work every time. The one thing that you have to question, the anomaly in this situation, is Tyson Fury. Now, all of a sudden, it's Tyson Fury going out of his character. Don't get it fucked up. It is not because he's the WBC mandatory and he needs to give him his respect as the #1 challenger. No, that motherfucker know he's in for a real fucking fight. Nobody's coming to be held and coddled at press conferences. Nobody's coming because they're happy to be standing next to you. Motherfuckers are coming because they really think they can beat you. This is a real fight. He knows it's a real fight, and he knows that he needs to do, like a famous rap group said back in the 90s. Protect his fucking neck. Wu-Tang forever. I mean, right or wrong. Since all of you fight fans think it's so easy, why are you demanding so little out of Tyson Fury? And why do you go out of your way to defend him at every turn when he contradicts himself time and time again? Oh, I guess that's because it's Tyson Fury? So will you not hold him accountable for anything that he says? Because I'm sure a lot of you fight fans believe what Tyson Fury's saying to be true, right? Y'all believe he's a bum. Y'all don't believe that Dillian Whyte brings anything useful to the table. So why all of a sudden the blackout, the silence, the lack of aggression, the same aggression that you've exerted every time you freaking use your freaking voice to speak on this man for the past couple of weeks? Oh, because you thought it was a joke. Now you realize the shit is getting really real. I think he does. I think he does. How many people can they get in that stadium? Over in the UK, for real, I think they can pack that bitch out. Like, let's be honest here. The only fight fans that we have to worry about not showing up to major events is the American fan base. I mean, and that comes when it comes to supporting their own. But when it comes to the UK fans, and it comes to other fans that live outside of London, who live outside of, you know, Ireland or any one of those territories, they're going to show up as well. You want to know why? Because for once, some shit that deserves to be on their soil and deserves to be brought back home is being brought home. You don't even got to worry about it. Soon as them tickets motherfucking go on sale, them bitches are going to fly off the shelf. And I don't think they're going to fly off the shelf for Luke Fury, believe it or not. I do know one thing about Dillian Whyte. He's been selling out 20K at what, the O2 since goddamn Derek Chisora. It's not hard for that guy to sell out. And it's not hard to get a bunch of people on board who understand a fight is really what it's supposed to be. I'm extremely interested in this fight. I don't need the promotion. I guess I'm more of a hardcore, like a bunch of you are. So I understand what I'm getting here. The one thing that is more priceless than me than anything in this fight is the realm of the unknown. How is Tyson Fury going to go about his work? How does this fight truly look once they get in the ring? That is something we truly do not know, because the Tyson Fury people think that they're used to seeing in his recent fights, you're not going to get to see that Tyson Fury. You're going to have to see a whole different Tyson Fury that switched on for a completely different reason. This isn't just, I'm just coming out to collect a check. This is, I'm going to have to really fight my fucking ass off because this dude is somebody that you cannot underrate or underestimate. And that's what type of fight this really is. And it's just a shame that a lot of people don't really gravitate to Dillian Whyte, and there are a lot of people that do. But if you're a hardcore boxing fan or a hardcore enthusiast when it comes to the sweet science, you would know stylistically that this fight leaves a lot up in the air. And it's a lot that, I mean, shit, both of these individuals have a lot to lose. But believe it or not, Tyson Fury has everything to lose in this fight, and he truly can lose it. Because what does that say about the heavyweight fighter when nobody is giving your opponent a chance and everybody is viewing him as a flat tire? What does that say? Tyson Fury just can't go out in this fight and look okay. He has to look exceptional. The beauty about this fight for Dillian Whyte, no matter how it goes, if Dillian Whyte makes this fucking thing mad close or if he wins, regardless, his stock is good. Because Tyson Fury shouldn't even have been in that situation, according to the public. Right or wrong? According to the public, Tyson Fury should go out and wash Dillian Whyte with no fucking problem. There's no way Dillian's just going to sit there and say and do nothing at the presser. He'll stand up and laugh in their face. It's going to be gold. That's what I'm saying, Fish. People have no idea who this individual is. They're hanging so much on the fact that he's not running around doing the bitch shit and getting this shit off the ground for BT and Top Rank. It's not his job to do so as the mandatory. This is a different situation. It's not like they wanted this fight to fucking happen. Dillian Whyte was the mandatory challenger. It got called. It wasn't like Fury wanted this fight. If they really want this fight to move something, they better get out there and like his big ass be running in the morning, he better go out there and move something. Because believe it or not, when it comes to that press conference, I promise you, he got the right one this time. He got the right one. You might be surprised to see how Tyson Fury might look. You might not see the same Tyson Fury when it comes to the obligatory press conferences. I promise you that. This could be a pure recipe for disaster. I just can't wait to see when both cars collide, man. I can't wait to see the car wreck. Because it's going to be a beautiful motherfucker. It's going to be a beautiful accident. I promise you that. When these two heavyweight cars, or trucks, I should say, run head first into each other, man, I promise you, this shit got all of the recipes of being fight of the year. All of the recipes of being fight of the year. And if not fight of the year, definitely in the heavyweight division. That of Usyk Joshua too. Regardless, you know, this fight leaves an element of the unknown that we only going to be able to witness and really be able to tune in and say what it really is definitively until it actually happens. And that's the beautiful thing about this fight, because for once, we don't have to argue for a 50-50. Well, some of you will argue with me and say this isn't a 50-50 fight. But for once, we truly have a 50-50. Your money can bet either way, and you could be good with it. For real. And I'm putting a significant chunk of change on Dillian Whyte because they got him so underrated in this fight, dude. He's extremely underrated in this fight. But I can't wait to see these Mack trucks run head on, man. It's going to look worse than Errol doing 100 plus going down the road by himself, tumbling over. I promise you that. I can't wait, bro. Wilder low on skill, high on power and heart. See, here's the thing about that too, right, Jeff? I honestly don't know if Wilder's power is what everybody says it is. Like, to be perfectly honest, we've never really seen it on display against anybody who is a high caliber fighter other than Tyson Fury. But one thing I can say about Tyson Fury in his career, he's touched the canvas by damn near every fucking body. I mean, shit, 210-pound Steve Cunningham dropped him in the second round. I mean, Tyson is known to get hit and he'll touch the freaking floor. So does Tyson have the best chin? I don't really know. But I'm not, you know, we know that, but I'm not going to hang my hat on and say, yo, Deontay Wilder's got so much power. I mean, shit, I'd throw a whole bunch of Johan dual passes out there, flat tire after flat tire. And, you know, anybody can, y'all boys could jump in the ring. and y'all can knock them motherfuckers over. It's like, how many fights have we watched of this dude? Has he went up against somebody that we would genuinely say, like, yo, what are they paying this motherfucker for when any one of us could jump in the ring and we could knock these motherfuckers out? There hasn't been too many fights from Deontay Wilder where he legitimately hasn't walked in the ring with somebody I feel like they grabbed out of my freaking high school, like off my high school, you know what I'm saying? Out the high school janitor's closet and just threw him in a fucking gym, bruh, and just told him leave the mop in the bucket outside of the ring and throw these gloves on. Because a whole bunch of them niggas been janitors, bro. They've been a whole bunch of clinking cans moving behind the motherfucking Whyte van, man. So it's like, I don't really know what Deontay Wilder's power really looks like because he's never even given us the respect of seeing it against somebody that we honestly can say we respect. I don't respect Luis Ortiz the way other people respect him. I know what that guy is, a damn fossil with some sagging skin hanging on some Hulk Hogan shit. Fun fact, Wilder has never beaten a legitimate top 10 heavyweight till this day, boxing levels. Those are facts. We ain't never seen Wilder go in there and really dethrone anybody in the top 10. I ain't even gonna give, you know what I'm saying, Dominic Brazil that respect. I mean, shit, Dominic Brazil is a known a punching bag with no defense. Now, you got to put yourself, now let's look at this from Deontay Wilder's side. If I'm fucking literally throwing punches from any goddamn where, I can muster them up. Like, he throws them joints from the basement. Like, his punches literally come from the floor to the damn rafters. If you hit somebody flush with any of that shit, you should knock them on their ass. You done threw every bit of your freaking body into that shit, whether it was the right way or the wrong way. I mean, that's what you doing. You just out there winging freaking windmills like you scared for your freaking life in a freaking fight. And you're just trying to get the opponent out of there with whatever you can muster up. That's all we see from that guy. This shit about to be different, man. Because Tyson Fury hasn't had to train for anybody who's really been a legitimate boxer like that since when? Since he retired. He wasn't even checking for Otto Wallin like that. That's why they gave him the fight. They didn't give Otto Wallin the respect. They didn't give Otto Wallin no respect because that's what they felt as though he really was about. They gave him that respect because he went out there and did more than what he was supposed to. And that's what people got to stop getting twisted when it comes to watching this shit. Yo, it's one thing for the promoter to say it, but don't you go by the dumb shit too when you knew, just like everybody else knew before we went into this shit, if you really didn't know nothing about him, who the fuck is Otto Wallin? Like, come on, man. Tyson Fury deserves some level of proper criticism for the people that he been fighting since he come on board. I understand you getting the weight, you getting the rust off you, blah, blah, but come on, dog. This dude ain't been fighting nobody, man. This is the first time he's legitimate. Like, bro, look at Tyson Fury's weight against freaking Deontay Wilder in the third fight. You tell me Tyson Fury really went out there and trained for that fight? No, he didn't. And if you think so, you're just sadly mistaken. Because Tyson Fury didn't go train hard for no Deontay Wilder. He knew exactly what it was going to be. I got the higher boxing IQ. I have the understanding of what's going on here. There is nothing more than fucking that janitor fucking Malik Scott, the super himself. There is nothing more that Malik Scott can teach this guy and get him in the ring for me that's going to prepare him for how I put him on the back foot. The two knockdowns came on behalf of Tyson Fury just not giving a flying fuck. Them two knockdowns didn't come because Tyson Fury was at the top of his game. No, those two knockdowns came simply because Tyson Fury was not taking that shit serious at all, and his training and the body that you saw after the training dictated all of that. And how visibly gassed he was after freaking 4 or 5 rounds in the fight will show you all of that shit. Tyson Fury was just going out doing what anybody would do if you give him a sports car. And you have no fucking sense about you. You just gonna get in that bitch ignorant as all hell and you gonna stab that bitch to the floor. You ain't worried about the torque coming from the rear tires and not. If you gonna whip that bitch hang that bitch all the way to the left and throw it into a wall, or you're not gonna be able to counter steer it back. You're not thinking about any of those things. All you trying to do is see how fast this bitch can go in a straight line. The only thing is, you just weren't prepared to hold the fucking wheel. That's all Tyson Fury was worried about in that fight. So look, all I got to do is maintain this drag strip for real, for real. Let me just motherfucking put the pedal to the metal on this goofball, and I'm going to knock him the fuck out. That's all he had to do. Fury's most definitely the better boxer. People aren't breaking the fight down, the pros and cons of each fighter. That's what I'm saying. And that's the thing. Tyson Fury definitely is the better boxer in this situation. Quite frankly, I feel like this, Lisa. If Tyson Fury is smart, he's going to come down on the weight. Sugar Hill is smart. They're going to come down on the weight a little bit. Tyson can't operate optimally at 273 pounds for the type of rounds he's going to have in this fight. We got to be realistic about it in this sense. Tyson Fury isn't a one-punch knockout artist. Dillian Whyte is. So if you're smart, we already know he isn't going to want to hang around on the inside when it comes to Dillian Whyte. And it's going to take a lot of energy for a guy that tall with that much weight to go in and out and play the in and out game with him and try to act like he's going to move around optimally like he's a fucking middleweight or some shit like that. No, Tyson Fury needs to stay on the outside, work the jab, use his combinations, use his head movement, feint properly. And when the fight comes close, he needs to wrap him up. He needs to wrap him up, get dirty a little bit in the boxing until the break comes or whatever, and then separate again and use his range to his advantage again. Because Tyson Fury doesn't want to get in a position where he has to try to hang his weight on Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte has too much core strength for him for that and will throw him right up off of him. And if he's getting thrown off of him, a hook or an uppercut might come from that. Or Dillian Whyte might be more comfortable with Tyson Fury trying to operate on the inside because he has a pretty deceptive uppercut and an awkward hook himself that he could catch him with that could really rattle his brains. We know Dillian Whyte has one-punch knockout power. So if Tyson Fury is going to do anything, I just feel like, for me, thinking about this fight, in no way does a knockout come for Tyson Fury unless he's going to beat it out of him. And what I mean by that is getting behind the jab, getting behind the combinations, just stand laterally and working it consistently. If he isn't going to do it that way with barrages and punches and combinations, I don't see how it's going to come. So if he's smart and strategic about the shit, you're going to go out there and you're going to, work on the outside. You're going to tie him up when it becomes available or when it's more convenient for you to do so, and you're going to get right back to the outside. You're not going to get yourself put in a position to where you're going to have to eat one of those blows from Dillian Whyte. You're going to use your so-called speed that he has against Dillian Whyte and just make Dillian Whyte have to work from the outside. That's how he makes him look bad. For me, that's how Tyson Fury makes that guy look bad. He doesn't make him look bad in any other way. Dillian Whyte's going to have to consistently work on using proper head movement, cutting off the ring, if Tyson Fury is going to be doing so, and just looking to catch him flush in the body. The beauty about Tyson Fury is he's a big 6'9", 6'10" target. You don't got to worry about targeting his face. All you got to do is fill the basement up with water up until that head opens up. And then when the head opens up, that's when you come over top with the hook or the overhand right. So, that's just the way the fight's going to have to work out if I'm on Tyson Fury's end of it. And if you're Dillian Whyte, you got to, have the patience of a Canelo Alvarez, but make sure every single one of your punches count. When you hooking off of their body, make sure every shot that you hit them with count. Make sure every shot is studying, and make sure you're punching with conviction. So, because you're going to have to try to slow him down. You're going to have to try to take the endurance out of it. And the way that you do that is consistently target the body. So, like I said, man, Tyson Fury is going to have to fight the smarter fight because I just don't see the knockout coming on his behalf. And if Tyson Fury knocks Dillian Whyte out, I will be highly surprised, and he will get a lot of respect from me for that because I just don't see where the punching power is going to come from for him to be able to do something like that. I just don't see it. Best distance control will eventually pay off with this fighter, whoever wins. Yeah, it definitely has. It's definitely about controlling the range, and Dillian Whyte's gonna have to, what I'm saying, like he's gonna have to close off that distance when he cuts him off, get closer, and make a lot of his freaking shots count. Try to keep the fight as close as you possibly can. But like I said, Tyson Fury's been operating from 273 to 278 pounds in his recent fights. Is Tyson Fury really going to shave down to that optimal weight he's going to have to be at for him to be fleet of foot? Because if you want the Tyson Fury that's going to throw over 300 plus freaking jabs or over 600 punches in a fight, which he's only done that 2 or 3 times in his career, you're going to have to get a Tyson Fury who comes down to about 255 to a 249 average, which BoxStats has him at when it comes to doing those such things. Now, Uh, Ryan Rourke says Dillian Whyte has zero chance. Fury can win the fight any way he wants. Okay, how does he do that? How does Fury win the fight any way that he wants? So you telling me Fury's gonna come on the inside? So Fury can win the fight any way he wants. So Fury wins this fight on the inside, Ryan? You don't know what you're talking about. Fury can't. Fury doesn't win this fight on the inside, and if he does, and if he's going to take the fight to him like that, then he wants to lose his belt. And if anybody thinks that, if you think that ignorant, if you ignorant enough to think that Tyson Fury just has this fight any way he wants, then shit. There's nothing really I can compute to you that's going to make sense, because that is so far from the truth. That's so far from the truth. Once again, there's more believers that, this fight is just a shoe-in victory and an easy win for Tyson Fury. I only see this fight being an easy way as if Tyson Fury boxes like a middleweight. Now, is he going to get the Derek Chisora? Is he going to give him the Derek Chisora type of treatment? I just don't see that happening in this fight. There's no way Tyson can go this fight and just stay clean. Like, even a guy that big operating on the outside, you can't do it for every fucking fight. I mean, shit, you go down to you can go down to minimal weight fighters. Even they have to even they have to pull punches, and even they have to take certain portions of rounds off, or they have to take a whole round off due to output and due to how they work. Tyson Fury is too freaking big to where I could just see him having success for 12 rounds. I mean, just throwing that bullet out there. Just hitting him with a bullet of a jab. Man, that takes a lot of fucking work, man. Tyson Fury is going to have the best. We're going to have to see Tyson Fury in the best shape we've ever seen him in. And we're going to have, like I said, we're going to have to see him light if he's going to be able to do those things. Fury changed his style because he can't move as well as he used to. Problem is, he needs that previous style to gain advantage. That's what I'm saying. We need the Tyson Fury, for me personally, from my personal opinion, and I agree with Fish on this, we need the Tyson Fury who operated at an average of 249 to 256 pounds if Tyson Fury wants to put on that type of show. If he wants to showcase that type of victory, Tyson Fury is going to have to be that guy. But we haven't seen Tyson Fury pre-Vladimir Klitschko. All we've seen is post-Tyson Fury, and he's with a completely different trainer who believes that Tyson Fury can still take advantage of all his intangibles with more weight put onto him. But the way Tyson Fury trains and the way Tyson Fury has operated with that weight on him, that would show me that that is so far from the truth. And Tyson Fury is significantly slower at 273. My whole thing is, man, the will people give Tyson Fury for getting up or continuing to pour it on, no matter how much adversity he faces. How many times has Dillian Whyte been in those same similar circumstances? Pretty much his whole career. Whether you think of freaking Joseph Parker, whether you think of Chisora, whether you think of goddamn Oscar Rivas, anybody you think of, Dillian Whyte's always been in those situations. He's always been in them. And he's a live dog in this fight. That's why, for me, it's going to be so satisfying to watch this fight and however it plays out. But I truly feel like I have a feeling that the fight is going to go in a way where all of those people who said it's going to be easy work for Tyson Fury, they're going to be singing a different tune. And that's not saying that Dillian Whyte wins the fight. I just think that it's going to be much more damaging on Tyson Fury than the rest of the world believes. That's all. Yeah, they definitely do. Because it's hard to be that freaking big and carry that much weight around on your knees, man. Like, the taller you get, the more knee and ankle problems you have. And, and to beat Tyson Fury, which is, an anomaly for him, the way he carries around is 270. He carries it around like a big guy, like a heavier set guy. He doesn't carry it around. It's not like it's slim and it's fit and it's trim and all that and he moving around. Like, bro, If Tyson Fury had like the kind like a more of a Lennox Lewis build at that 273, bro, this would be a whole different conversation. But he's never been the biggest puncher. He's never been the strongest guy. He's used the advantages of his intangibles. He's always used them in the sense of where it works out for him. Whether I can lay my weight on the smaller guy because he ain't strong enough to keep it on off of him in the later rounds, or I'm gonna outbox the shorter guy, pivot off of him, and just have him looking befuddled and stupid. That Tyson Fury has been gone for quite some time. Can that Tyson Fury come back? Because he's gonna have to resurrect that guy for this fight. No game plan has been revealed, and of course it's not going to be revealed until fight night, but we're really going to understand on fight night what type of Tyson Fury we're getting, because I think that people kind of have their feet kicked up when it comes to Tyson Fury being the best heavyweight in the world, and it hasn't been proven yet, and he has some way to go to prove it. I feel like the guys who kind of intermingled and mixed it up already, regardless of whether you have a loss on your record in the heavyweight division, doesn't take you out of the running of being the best heavyweight. Now, there are guys that are still out there that I feel like present him a significant amount of a threat and can honestly beat him. So we're not in the position where we can just go, Tyson Fury is just going to dethrone everything. Now, I gave him the advantage against Usyk based off of the fact of his size and being a dominant heavyweight if he was to come into that match and use those weight tactics that Tyson Fury used. But this is a completely different fight. It's a completely different element of the unknown. So I feel like people are going to be strapped in for something completely different, something that you're not going to be used to seeing out of Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury, you might be seeing him pour on certain shit with a certain level of urgency. Now, does that benefit Tyson Fury, or will it be an Achilles heel for him? I possibly think it can, because he's going to want to hold on to as much energy and momentum as he can on a round-by-round basis and pick and choose his spots, because he doesn't want to gas out against Dillian Whyte, because we know Dillian Whyte's power lasts from the first round all the way to the 12th, like Deontay Wilder's, excuse me. I think Fury has the stuff to beat all of the rest of the top heavies. Like, of course, he has the element. I give him that. He does. He does have the things to beat those top heavyweights. But my whole thing is, it's going to take a guy like Dillian Whyte for me to understand where Tyson Fury really is, because Deontay Wilder never really gave me a measuring stick of where Tyson Fury is in the heavyweight division. If anything, Deontay Wilder was only giving me question marks about him. If anything, Otto Wallin is only giving me question marks about him, because there are significant matches that I could watch with Tyson Fury where I could show you that other heavyweights with more experience would have taken advantage in those situations, to where those type of fighters just couldn't take advantage of, the upside that they had in those particular fights, where Dillian Whyte isn't necessarily going to have those type of problems. So it's like everybody thinks that Whyte is green coming to this fight and he's just going to be coming in flat. And of course, his fighting style might not be as appealing to everybody, but a lot of those things is what makes him dangerous. And a lot of the fact that the power that he possesses makes him dangerous all throughout the course of the fight. And the thing is, he could get caught by Dillian Whyte and not even fucking wake up. That's the truth of the matter. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. I just feel like Tyson Fury is going to have to work way harder than Dillian Whyte in this fight. And what I say by that is, stylistically, the way I'm matching him up and how he has to go about getting the victory. Because I just can't see it. And unless I hear something that's really tangible for me to hold on to mentally, that makes sense of how Tyson Fury can operate on the inside and make it to where, Dillian Whyte's in a lot more trouble and has to exert a lot more than Tyson Fury, then maybe I'll agree with that. But can't nobody tell me anything about Tyson Fury or how he fights that it makes sense for him to be on the inside with that guy. I just don't see it. I don't understand how you can get knocked down all three of your last fights, but you're still a favorite to knock somebody out. I can say Tyson Fury chinny. Yeah, I truly believe that he is chinny, man. I I think that he's chinny. He has the heart to get up off the canvas to continue. I think maybe sometimes he might go on autopilot a little bit, depending on who he's dealing with, or he might not be taking him serious. And then when he gets in those moments, he turns up and he's a little and has a and that adrenaline is pumping, he has a much better sense of awareness. But when I hear people like this saying not giving Dillian Whyte a chance in this fight is pure ignorance. That's a fact. Never mind, I almost misread it. That's a fact, Shannon the Cannon. That's a fact. When I don't hear people give him a chance in this fight, it just shows me how far people have fallen from really understanding what really goes on in the boxing ring. Because there's never been a moment for me when it comes to this fight that Dillian Whyte has never had a chance. As a matter of fact, it's such an intriguing matchup for me. I don't see how anybody cannot see Dillian Whyte not winning this fight. Now, that doesn't mean he wins the fight, but what I'm saying is he equally has just as much of a chance to win this fight as your Alexander Usyk or your Anthony Joshua would. And I don't think that I'm being outlandish or being delusional in any sense of the word in saying such. Whyte needs to take him out quick because he ain't outboxing Fury. But see, that's the thing, though. That's the thing about styles in fights. Whyte isn't coming to outbox. Whyte's probably coming to knock him out. But Whyte has shown that he can get in there and box with, experienced heavyweight boxers and hold it down. So the thing is, it's not like, I don't think I'm even looking for Whyte to go in here and outbox Tyson Fury. I'm looking for him to go in here and out ugly him and use his abilities to his advantage. Like, I think that Dillian Whyte's going to go in here and he's going to be the shorter but bigger, stronger fighter. I think Dillian Whyte's going to operate in a very, very poised but more calculated kind of Mexican style. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no different than any Mexican fighter. Or let's look at it like this: Gervonta Davis versus Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Nobody thought that Pitbull Cruz should even be landing a hand on Gervonta Davis or even touching him. And there were certain portions of the fight where Isaac couldn't lay a hand on Gervonta Davis. But as the fight proceeded to go on, what did we start to see? We started to see him slow down. He wasn't able to get out of the way of certain shots. He had to stand firm in certain places in certain rounds of that fight. And Isaac Cruz kept making a better case for himself on a round by round basis. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter who you are. Eventually, you're going to catch up. When you have a person that's consistently coming forward and you consistently have to shift and move your angles, he's going to catch up to you. There's no way around it. Whether you're trying to escape from it or whether you're on the front side of it, he's going to end up catching up with you. I mean, he's only human and he's carrying a lot of weight around with him. There is no way that he's going to just be able to stay out of the way of everything that Dillian Whyte does. That's impossible. And if anybody give Otto Wallin any type of respect for what he did in the fight against Tyson Fury, I mean, shit, you would have to give Dillian Whyte more respect than fucking Otto Wallin and saying that Dillian Whyte should be able to outperform this individual. So, I mean, if Otto Wallin could catch him, Dillian Whyte could catch him. If Steve Cunningham can catch him, Dillian Whyte can catch him. These significantly smaller fighters that took the fight to the taller guy and made the taller fighter end up having the fight small. The difference between those guys is you had a green guy in Otto Wallin who's never even been on that stage with a fighter with that type of IQ, and you got Steve Cunningham who's just a cruiserweight who simply was just completely outsized in that fashion. But Dillian Whyte isn't suffering from those same things. He has the experience. He's fought the world champions. He's fought on that level. He's gone 12 rounds quite a few times in his career. This isn't a first rodeo for Dillian Whyte. All I'm saying is people act like, Tyson Fury has been this ballerina in his career and he's never been touched. Tyson Fury always gets touched. Now it's a completely different kind of fight, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I keep saying. Like, bro, just go at that man's body And you know, Dillian Whyte already has the mindset. He's like, bro, I ain't worried about punching this man in his face. I ain't worried about hitting him in his head. He got so much body there. I'm just trying to hit him wherever. If it's a point to be scored, he's about going out there and trying to score. So we just got to just wait and see what's going to take place. And I truly believe it's a really competitive 50-50 fight. And I just think that, you know, the disrespect Dillian Whyte has just received the entirety of, you know, this conversation being had, or just people just dismissing the work he's put in the entirety of his career and, you know, working himself into this, you know, mandatory spot. I just think that, you know, people are just fucking crazy and they got to be casuals because they're not really paying attention to what's going on. But I got to get out of here, guys. It's been great talking to y'all. Of course, we got Super Nipple Sunday coming up again. I got more content coming out for you guys this week as well, so just be on the lookout. Yeah, man. So I appreciate everybody coming through. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I got to get the fuck out of here myself, so let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. As we always say at the end of this shit, it costs you nothing to pay a nigga no mind. Everybody be blessed. Remember, y'all all stars, so go out and shine like one. So salute to everybody. Jeff, Prime Rain, Lynx, Lisa, Shannon the Cannon, Gerald Fields, Ryan Ork, Bork 801, and everybody else in the build. Peace out. It's the motherfucking boss. Respect.